Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Insomnia 49. That's not the right thing. It's the Challenger Series number 10. We're now in double figures, and we'll have the Challenger Series number 11 later on in the week as well. Currently have Smart People shaping up against Mr. Bobi, which is two interesting names. And I am Pulse, and I'm joined by Spuddington. We've been video crafting a little bit about Malzahar. And we've had some interesting concepts come up, and it doesn't look like we're going to have an invade from either of these teams, just some ward aggression going down, which is pretty common in this early game. So take me through some of the concepts we were talking about, Spuddington.
Okay, so I think what they're going to be looking to do with Malzahar, at least when it comes to the team fight phase here, is what they're really going to want to do is just actually, what you typically associate with a caster is like a burst caster. You take down a squishy or something like that, or you're like a sustained damage caster and you just kite them backwards. I think what Malzahar here is going to look to do, if I'm not wrong, is actually just straight up kill anyone who tries to dive his carry. So what you'll have is you'll have like a Shen or a Nasus, Nasus pops ult, runs in with that ghost. He's going to be a little bit lower level than Malzahar, and Malzahar's damage is % health based. So Shen is going to build a ton of health just because of his kit. Nasus has his ultimate, which gives him a ton of health. That % damage from Malzahar, rank 1, by the way, the full damage of Null Zone is 20% of your max health. And he's going to have all his damage from Malefic Visions and his ultimate and all the rest of it, although there is an invade coming. So I think he may just try and blow up the invading Bruiser.
Yes, indeed. Redzor is on the brunt of it so far. Gets hooked as well by Rydell. And Redzor's taken so much damage, flashes over the wall. Still got the Ignite ticking down, but he should be safe for now. Leap Fake there along with his ally of Grom, but the waters come out. And the pink wall comes in by Rydell. And the pause comes in. The worst possible moment. Looks like we have lags from the team of Mr. Bobi, but right during this blue invade, this gives both of these teams some time to kind of contemplate what they should do next.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go back to talking about Malzahar because this is just fascinating me so much. Also worth noting, he's running teleport right now. So Malzahar's damage is just so high, and it's going to be so effective against Nasus and Shen. I think what he's going to look to do, rather than doing what you typically do on that kind of a caster where you look to lock down a squishy and blow them up in a team fight, he's actually just going to blow up a bruiser instead, because his damage is so high and it's % based, and these guys are going to have a lot of health. And then you can look to see Malzahar building, say, a Liandry's Torment to even further emphasize just how much damage he's going to do to that. And the thing is, these are not strong diving characters. They're very, very tanky, but they are not particularly good at getting into the back line. So Shen and Nasus will have to kind of tank this damage for a very long time in order to get anywhere. And I just think that Caitlyn is going to be safe to do as much damage as she wants throughout the fight, while simultaneously you've got Zac and J4 looking to do the diving. However, this invade has just happened. So Pulse, what do you think this is going to mean for J4 in terms of his jungle clear?
Well, the pink ward's already gone down, and so far with Malzahar already in mid lane, doesn't look like a contest is on the cards for them. They will be taking this blue, but they have taken a lot of damage in return, and they might actually turn around. We'll see if Redzor can actually get the steal off. But with that pink ward there, it's going to be difficult. Grom places down another green ward, so Rydell will eventually be taking it out himself. Looking for the steal to happen. Doesn't quite come out, but the flash comes down. At first blood picked up by Leaf Fake. And Rydell, another flash comes out. Headshot lands as well. Looks as if they can pick up another kill, but doesn't seem like that's going to happen for them. Bottom lane has swapped up to the top lane, so we have the duo lane up top. But first we're going to Caitlyn. Not going to allow her to go back just yet, but they did actually come out ahead in that very slightly. But going back to that question, Spuddington, that will hurt J4's early game, but he doesn't really have to bother about top lane anymore.
Yeah, that's going to give Caitlyn a serious advantage, because a level 1 blue buff means level 2 trap spam if she wants it. She may look to be safe and go for net, but I would expect, given that she knows Nasus' jungle is delayed, she won't worry about Nasus appearing in top lane immediately. So she'll probably take trap second, she'll have complete brush control, and she'll have Piltover spam, which is significant harass, because she can afford to just, like that, just, take a pot shot with it, because she's never going to run out of mana now, and we have seen her take net after all. But regardless, I'm a little bit surprised I didn't see J4 look for the invade on the enemy red, but I guess he was worried he might be spotted out by a ward if he did so.
Yeah, and that's really set Nasus behind as well. He has picked up the blue buff himself, and he's level 2 to J4's level 2 as well, but he still has a red buff, sorry, to go to as well after that, so he will still be able to pick up that level 3. But he's also forced to use that smite because there was no one available to help him. So both of these junglers will be behind, but Nasus really isn't the early aggressive jungler you expect to see on the field anyway. However, J4 is. He doesn't have to deal about top lane. Mid lane's fairly pushed, and this is kind of what we expect to see. I'm more interested to see how Malzahar plays out this lane, because you typically just expect Malzahar to Malefic Visions a minion and just continuously push it up to tower. And it looks like that's what he's doing. So J4, again, not really going to be looking for those ganks on mid lane. And then bot lane is Zac, and he's currently pushing as well. So kind of give him a little time to kind of sit back, get some of that farm up, and get himself back into the game.
Yeah, Nasus is that farming jungler. He tends to be fairly, you know, lackluster in terms of presence early on. But then later on, he makes the dragon plays. You know, he's kind of spikes around that level 6 area and starts to be more useful from then. Having that ultimate just means he clears dragon so fast, can solo it so effectively. However, this mid lane right now, yes, Malzahar is pushing it out a bit, but he's not completely shoving out to tower. You'll notice right now he's conserving that Malefic Visions, even though he's almost on full mana, and it looks like both him and Zyra are just going to kind of keep that lane kind of as centralized as they can. That's in a battle to the death with the golems, but he should be okay with that. So looking forward to seeing if Malzahar tries to get aggressive soon, but it's also going to be worth noting, against Zyra at level 6, he's actually probably not going to have that insta-gift.
Yeah, and it's all down to, well, and also keeping an eye on top lane as well, as Jarvan has just moved into the bush with that pink ward in as well, so they are securing the knowledge that they won't be able to spot him out, as the wave's also pushing in as well, so he'll probably move up into the next bush after that one after that. But looking at Malzahar against the Zyra matchup, it's really down to Zyra to kind of predict when Malzahar is going to go all in. And that's fairly easy because he'll start setting up his spells before that. So there'll be like a half second to a second window where Zyra can place down her own ultimate of Stranglethorns. And because it's delayed on the knockup, he'll go for the Nether Grasp, and then the knockup will come in from Stranglethorns, mitigating probably 75% of his ultimate. However, we have to see if that's enough damage before that to actually kill Zyra, and that's really what's going to come down to.
Also, I'd like to sound the crit rune alert. Caitlyn here is actually running, I think, 6% crit.
Nice.
And she critted on Thresh just a second ago and really wrecked him. Jarvan in this top lane is going to help them out. Nasus does not have the health. He's gotten way too low in the jungle to help clear this. And I don't think Samux can hold this tower very easily. Can it survive the continued pressure? Will the tower clear the wave itself? I'm actually not sure it will. This could be a very early tower. The most recent patch did make them a little bit tankier, but doesn't seem to be changing much about the strategy in the game. So Samux is going to be just futilely hitting away at Jarvan there. That tower's gone down.
Yeah, already taking it out, and Samux drops low, but I'm not going to chase up after that. He does still have the Arcane Shift along with his Flash, and with Rydell coming back in with full HP and mana, it looks like they're not too interested in pushing this on further. But yeah, Tao already heading down at around the 7-minute mark. Looks like that change has had no difference at all to the current way both of these teams are playing. And Kikis is currently being ganked by Nasus. I mean, he's been hit once and been hit twice, but I don't think he's really looking for this Tower dive, especially with Kikis' passive up.
Yeah, it's just, it's Zac. He's too much of a ball of blob, and you're not going to push him out easily. But it's worth noting that one of the things I was predicting that would happen in this lane that we discussed actually in the break was that what you'd expect to see item-wise from a Shen versus Zac matchup is the Sunfire Cape. It's pretty much the staple item of a Bruiser versus Bruiser lane right now, and you can still expect to see Shen go for that. But since that top tower has now fallen very, very early, Kikis may not actually feel as obligated to build specifically to counter, and actually, there we go, picked up that Haunting Guise, so quite a high damage level there on Zac for this early game. But because Shen is now not going to be his 1v1 opponent for the immediate future, he doesn't feel obligated to build that Sunfire Cape, and that also means maybe he'll be able to just build for that kind of, well, not necessarily burst, but, you know, much higher damage build than you would typically expect to see late on.
Yeah, so I'm currently looking at Caitlyn's rune page, and there's actually opted for 6 crit chance marks, and then just the rest damage, picking up the lifesteal on the quintessences as well as usual, only 4%, and then picking up some extra damage because she's losing some from the rest of those marks. So actually opting for the crit rune, which is kind of interesting, and over the course of the laning phase, that will result in extra damage as well. It's actually worked out, and it's kind of interesting because I like to personally opt for like 1 crit rune just in case it crits, but picking up those extra ones as well, it certainly makes sense. And Shen just finds himself in the trap. Look at the harassment coming down from that Sona and Caitlyn lane as well. So difficult to deal with. The fact they've swapped up those lanes, and Kikis is now in a fairly decent place himself, where he can just kind of clear these waves pretty decently, in fact, with the stretching strike and the unstable matter. So he should be able to keep this tower alive longer than Shen can keep that bot one up, because it's currently about 50% HP. So we'll see which tower dies first, but I've got an inkling that the bot tower will fall first. But meanwhile, we have Jarvan just completely exploding, and I believe that was the ultimate going down by Extra as well.
Yeah, he just caught Jarvan in the root, followed up with the plant and the ult, and that was just a very, very dead Jarvan. But now the pressure is down on this bottom tower. Can Nasus help to clear this out? Spiritfire is actually an extremely good wave clear ability for this kind of situation. Shen goes for that, but is not able to get it, and does look like they're going to hold this tower a little bit longer, but top tower hasn't even taken any damage recently. They're going to have to sacrifice this soon. That's going to be awkward, because it means that they are just taking a big pushing advantage, making use of that earlier game Kate, and this is kind of the mid-game phase, but Kate isn't actually losing her strength. She's going to get to that high damage state before too long as well, because she's getting a ton of farm. So this is actually all coming out pretty much rosy for Mr. Bobi right now. But regardless, aggression in the bot lane, but it didn't really transpire into anything.
Yeah, and they need to keep that aggression up just to kind of keep them away from their turret, but at 34 HP, I don't think it's really long for this world, and having a second turret at this stage in the game is huge for Mr. Bobi right now, because they can start roaming, they can go for objectives like Dragon, and not having that safe haven of the bot turret, even for what it's worth at 34 HP, will just allow them ability to be more aggressive, maybe pick up this dragon, and then if they want to go for a team fight, there's nowhere for the enemy to run to and escape from it. So I could definitely expect to see that happening in the near future as well. Plus, haunting guys on both Zac and Malzahar, so they really are looking to push home this mid game. And as you said, Caitlyn is not looking to really fall off anytime soon. We've got 76 farm, and looking at that 101 farm already from Malzahar, looks like she's been taking the camps as well.
Yeah, it's kind of impressive to outfarm a mid-Zyra. Yeah. Mid-Zyra is the king of farming your jungle camps, but it actually looks like the teleport is coming in. Malzahar in the top lane, death sentence already used. Now the silence comes across, but it's not going to land. Kikis popping that let's bounce. I can't see Thresh getting out of this one. Taking some auto attacks, taking some purple space on his face, and I nearly said the... I don't know. Actually, to be fair, our STI's a no-go area? I don't know. But regardless, Malzahar, successful gank.
If it's a quote, it's probably okay, but we'll leave that on the sidelines for now, I think. So, Malzahar moving into the mid lane. He still has Nether Grasp, so he might just open up onto Extra as well. Flagger comes in immediately from the flash, straight to the Cataclysm, drops the Null Zone straight into the Nether Grasp, but he's still taking a huge amount of damage from the Ignite and the plant, and the last tick of Ignite drops him. Nasa's coming in from the south along with Shen. Don't quite pick up the kill onto Redzor, but that was a 1-for-1 trade, and Zyra does so much damage, even when she's locked up.
Yeah, she is just... Zyra mid just does unbelievable amounts of damage. I think it must be the most damage of any character, almost, because she just... I just don't even know. But the thing that is a bit of a problem for her is that it's hard for her to get aggressive with that damage. She can't walk up to you and like grasping roots you reliably because it's a very slow projectile. She can't walk up to you and strangle thorns you because the knockup is delayed. She works extremely well as a counter engage because if you get guys like Jarvan and Zac jumping in and then they get, you know, strangle thorns double planted, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. But yeah, difficult to get aggressive unless you can kind of catch someone out, trap them without them seeing the root coming. But regardless, she's looking good right now with that full Rabadon's death cap, but you could say the same about Malzahar, haunting guys in a needlessly large rod, and both of them are just very high damage, somewhat immobile mages.
Yeah, it's really who lands it first as well. And And still, in this mid lane matchup, neither of them really want to aggress onto each other. Also, the fact that neither of them have their ultimates as well. Malzahar will be up in about 26 seconds, but now moving on to Drake as well. All the players converging on that location. Shen's still top and will have his ultimate in a couple seconds himself. It doesn't really look like they've got any want to try and contest this against a team who is so strong in this stage in the game anyway. They have great initiate, they also have great burst, and if they get into a toe-to-toe fight, they probably will win out as well.
Yeah, it seems at the moment that Giants are just looking to play it fairly defensively for now, go in with that split push from Shen, and actually that might be why Zach is building towards that damage. He's looking to kind of actually, rather than getting stuck in a stalemate with Shen, he's looking to be able to actually grind him down and win in that duelist scenario. As it happens though, he is going to be possibly in a bit of trouble here because Nessus and Shen forming the dream team once again and are going to be pushing this out. Scholastic Slingshot comes in on both of them, putting down a bit of damage. Unstable Matter and the Stretching Strike for some good measures, but it looks like they're just going to back off. I don't know if they want to fight this though. I think Kikis right now is actually going to be significantly stronger in a 2-on-2 scenario. And actually now in bottom lane, Crescendo coming down across. Rydal will be getting aggressive here. Can he land the death sentence? He does have it available. Grom gets taunted, gets the death sentence on, and Samox we're going to be jumping out, but actually is just about okay there. Leet Fake is going to be continuing. I'm sorry, I just hate anyone with the name Leet. But anyway, is going to be just going back to farming.
Yeah, I mean, you typically associate players who have like the numbers in the name as kind of like a scrub name, but with a Diamond 1 account and it being in a Challenger team, he was far from being a scrub himself. And it's just kind of one of those things. It's like pro-gamer prejudice or something along those lines. But Kikis coming in from behind Nasus, I don't really think he can take him out. You might be able to slowly grind him down, but this would probably be the longest fight in history if they choose to engage onto it. And Wither will actually just stop that right in its tracks. Meanwhile, we've got Zrom just kind of wandering around, not doing too much, just warding about. So we kind of hit a lull in the action, and neither of these teams really want to look for a fight. Shen doesn't have his ultimate, so they're not looking to pick anyone off. And at the same time, Zach is just having a fun time at top, so there's no real need to go for those team fights. Zyra is finally starting to out-CS Malzahar, and I'm interested to see who initiates the first fight, because so far we've analysed both of these team fights, and we've looked at Mr. Bobi with basically high burst and mainly fear crafting about the Malzahar and seeing if he will go for that front line, because he will be able to cut straight through that Nasus or that Shen if they get anywhere near his carries. So we'll see if that actually plays out, but for now, do you think any of these teams want to go for a fight, or do they just want to carry on farming?
Honestly, I feel like Giants may have a bit of a problem as time goes on in the very long run if they play passive. But for now, what they want to do is to get Ezreal to hit that kind of critical mass of items. It's uncertain at this point whether he's going for a blue build, if he's going to pick up that Iceborne Gauntlet, or if he's going to go for a more conventional carry. He's got the mana immune, but that's also quite good. Oh boy, Malzahar in the bottom lane, flashes for the silence, gets the ultimate off, but I don't think he's going to get the kill, so a little bit alarming there for Ezreal, but both flashes used and a couple of cooldowns to boot. Like I say though, depending on what Ezreal goes for, the late game is probably going to somewhat favour the team that's running Caitlyn, just because her range is so good in that late game scenario.
Yep, plus our top lane we had Kikis just being slightly aggressed on by Zrom and along with Nasus, but they weren't able to make anything really happen. Still with the Let's Bounce and the Flash and both of the Summers, so he does have Cell Division as well. If they go for this tower dive, this could quite backfire, along with Grom there as well with the Crescendo. And it looks like that will be, once again, enough just to kind of push them back. And that tower is still very, very healthy indeed. So, right now, again, another lull in the action. And I'm kind of surprised that Malzahar used the Nether Grasp on Ezreal, because he only really would have landed the Call of the Void anyway. Maybe he was just hoping to land that, so he couldn't arcade and shift down, and then land the rest of the abilities after that. But he only really landed the ultimate, and damn, his ultimate, in fact, his Q did so much damage to Samox. Yeah, it was EQ.
That's it.
Not even sure if the second missile hit him as well. I think it's just one of them.
I don't think Call of the Void can do double damage. It just has a weird interaction with Spell Shield. But Kikis in the top lane, flashing out and was very, very low on health. He still has that Cell Division passive, and he knows Archatos has no mana. However, he has no health to speak of. Playing it very, very careful, but now the mid lane fight is kicking off. We've got Stan United on Exeter, who is trying to get himself out, but Shen will come in, will save the day, and we've got a living Zyra continuing on her kind of pushing path, and meanwhile Malzahar pushing back two people at once.
Yeah, and all the while at top lane, they were just kind of running circles around the tower for quite a while, which dropped Nasus very low and just couldn't quite land the auto attack on Kickers. And all the while, he was just landing his abilities, getting his health back with his Cell Division passive. So far, it's kind of interesting because Mr. Bobi are currently being pushed back and they are losing kills, but at the same time they're still ahead in the sense that they can win fights. They're just not in the right position. Honestly, right now I feel they just need to group up and try and force a fight to happen. Vegro, however, me on the bot lane, and look at the damage coming in from the full combo, and that's what happens when you have no idea what's coming out of the brushes, and Samux just left with no support.
Suddenly Malzahar appears, a wild Malzahar in the tall grass, and it turns out it's level 100. But, you know, it's just so scary to deal with that kind of thing. The main issue with Malzahar is in serious team fights, but it actually looks like he may be planning on playing almost like a split push game right now. With that teleport, he's very, very vulnerable to being ganked, right? So if he plays it perfectly, however, if his team gets the vision to make sure he's never caught out in like a 2 or 3-on-1 situation, he is going to be able to 1v1 anyone they send to stop him, and he's going to be able to push remotely with his Voidlings. In the mid lane though, Archatros throwing in the Spirit Fire, not going to be getting that kill, but he's going to chase down Jarvan, but not going to waste the mana after all.
Yeah, he popped Fury with the Sands because the Ezreal ultimate came in as well, but he weren't able to lock anyone down because they didn't have any CC there, but they will be moving on to the Drake after that. But Rydell has found himself caught by Redzor, doesn't choose to flag and drag just yet, doesn't have any points in the Golden Aegis, really looking for a very aggressive build, doesn't have the Cataclysm, so have forced them back. And now moving on to the blue buff, we'll see if a team fight opens up just in a second with Shen coming down as well. Looks like they might look for this engagement to happen. Ward over the walls, just getting that knowledge about the enemy. And it looks really like smart people are just not looking for this fight. They're just not confident in a 5v5 scenario.
Yeah, and Mr. Bobi are going to be taking away this dragon if they can. However, the aggression is coming in. Roots down. Radzog taking a lot of damage. Crescendo comes in. Huge AoE damage coming down. Rydell will drop very quickly to Malefic Visions. We've got Kaelin on the backline putting down the damage on Jerem, who is getting chased down by the Let's Bounce from Kikis. Archatros is at the back, but Kikis is actually now not able to do anything. He is just getting taken out, but the Zyra passive is up. Will not take anyone out. And that was overall a 4 for 2 in the favor of Giants. No, not Giants. Smart people. They're not Giants anymore.
Yeah, and Zerom dropped so low along with Nasus, but though their carries died, they did eventually win out. And did you catch who picked up the Drake as well?
I believe it was Mr. Bobi, but don't quote me on that.
Looks like smart people.
Nope,
Zyra picked
Giants.
up in that fight, yeah. Though neither of the Smite actually picked that one up. But that team fight was just a result of everything hitting everyone. And Malzahar actually teleports in, but with that warding cover, look at the wards from both of those teams. It's completely infested right now. So they were able to stop that one before it really came of anything. But that was just all the ultimates hitting everyone. Crescendo hit 5 people. Then Zyra ultimate hit pretty much everyone, along with the box which zoned everyone away, forcing people into all of the AoE ultimates. And it just turned out that the smart people's lineup, at least their front line, was tankier than that of Mr. Bobi.
Yeah, and it's just that really, really scary Zyra that's doing most of the damage right now. Just so much damage. I mean, there's no, like, I can't say anything else about it. She's just doing an absolute ton of damage, and in that fight, she was able to put it down on so many people at once. Plus, that's making her more scary in turn. So, you know, smart people now really starting to take a little bit of a lead. They were actually, I think, maybe 2 or 3k behind about 5 or 6 minutes ago now. But they're kind of edging out over and over again. Virgo there looking potentially like he thought someone might walk past and look to be killed. But it's like a suicide booth. You walk in and you find Malzahar. But anyway, he has picked that Leandry's Torment. But regardless, nothing much going on.
Yeah, the early advantage really was the result of the early 2 towers, and Kikis gets locked up at top lane with the Shadow Dash coming in. Let's Bounce comes out with that extra movement speed, should be able to get himself to safety, moving up to that turret, which is still standing. Nasus Fury of the Ascendant is also active, and they should be able to pick up this kill. Cell Division passive is down, so 2 tanky bruises on your face, not going to live for too long. Redzor moves up into the top lane, and he should be able to defend this with both of those big ultimates down. and Vergro was thinking about moving to top, but they are backing off. So that early advantage, bot lane comes down, but Stan United comes out as well. Rhino pops down the box, Crescendo comes in once again, doesn't lock up Samuk, and a continuous damage still takes him out. So meanwhile, Leap Fake looks to try and escape, and the death sentence very narrowly missing. Meanwhile, Exeter comes in from the top side. Doesn't look like he's after Caitlyn though, and he was looking instead for a pick onto Vergro, see if he could stop him as he was coming into the bot lane. And really, right now, it's just down to positioning.
Yeah, the funny thing right now is that if Malzahar catches Zyra out, it's a 100-0 kill. If Zyra catches Malzahar, though, that's a 100-0 kill too. So it's just whoever lands the first ability there is generally going to get the kill. Or sometimes they might kill each other, but with a down on Leap Fake, he's going to be moving himself away, though. Not going to be going down, although he will take a lot of damage. Jarvan also forced away there. Going to be just kind of poking around, but you can see the amount of poke that's coming out from both teams now. Samux doesn't actually have that mirror mana yet.
Yeah, both of these teams do have huge amounts of poke, and the mirror mana is about 660 on the charge, so it won't be too long until that one gets stacked up. Caitlyn dropping so low, though, has been forced back to base, so if smart people want to force anything, now is the time. Look at the wave clear coming out from Vergro as well. It's just absolutely impossible to push against them. And in fact, they're just going to go ahead and recall. So, both of these teams have good sieging capability, and both of them have good wave clear. So, if you get into these siege situations, nothing's really going to happen.
Yes, it's actually interesting though. You can see Jerome right now, Shen there, has built a Negatron Cloak and a Wit's End. Now normally, he's got that Sunfire Cape, which is kind of generally now considered to be a fairly core item on Shen. And in the bot lane there could be something kicking off, but it's not going to. So the reason I think he's going for all this magic resist is he wants to be in a situation where he cannot be 100-0'd by Malzahar. Because with that full combo, he is still a serious threat even to the tankiest of bruisers. And that means that he can actually stop Shen from split pushing and actually force him back. However, if Shen is able to build enough magic resist, he can start to threaten him away, start to at least avoid being pushed back, and then he will have the Stand United advantage. So even if they just, oh boy, Exeter in the middle, getting taken down very, very low, and will get, in fact, completely killed.
Yeah, and also it comes across from Ezreal, doesn't quite pick Zac up. And did he have the passive? No, it wasn't up either, so had that landed, it might have actually taken him out. I don't forget hit any targets along the way, so that would have been the full brunt of the True Shot barrage. And right now, Exeter, it's just really who gets a drop on who. Malzahar was up at the top lane though. And it's really just down to picking right now. Neither of the teams can go for those sieging scenarios because both of the teams have wave clear. And no one really wants to go for the 5 versus 5 fight either. So instead, it's just coming down to who gets picked, and then can you make something happen after you get that pick.
Yeah, it's just, and both teams are playing so scared because there is so much potential punishment if you walk into the bush with your face first. This does, however, transpire that you need to play a very careful, and yet you need to get a strong control of the map. You need the vision, you need the map control, because if you lose essentially the map control, then you open yourself up to more picks, you open yourself up to more face checks into the Zyra ultimate. But there could be a fight kicking off here at Dragon, and it is actually a Lantern being thrown out. Then the autos, Jarvan goes in, Cataclysm down on 3, Exeter cannot get off the combo, and now we have Zac jumping into the middle of everyone, putting down some damage, but I don't think he's Let's Bounce. Maybe not having the cooldown available. Jerem going to be jumping out of there, will flash. Kikis goes after him with the Q and will not pick that up. Architrust going to be running for his life if he can. He does have a fair bit of health though, and that was fairly messy, but I do just want to finish the point. The map control right now is absolutely key.
Samux. And Samux, okay, flashes over the wall. Another Q comes down, and Stan United. I don't think he was really expecting that to happen. Death sentence over the wall as well from Rydell. They are looking for the chase to happen. Full health NASA's on the front lines as well. He's looking for that Q to come out. And in fact, the W, rather, the Wither lands on Sono. That's going to pick up that kill. And the coordination, I don't think, was quite there. Red's all trying to take the golems, but honestly, this is not the right time to be farming, as Nasus just turns around the corner and finds himself something to turn into another Q stack, and looks like they're looking for the bottom turret to be picked up as well, but Vergro still has his full combo available.
Oh, blimey, he's coming around the corner. Nasus is going to get blown up, but there's no null zone there. I think he may have messed up his combo. Regardless, though, the shutdown on the Nasus. And now it looks like Samux is going to try and pick up the Bloblets from a distance. The hook has come down. Kikis has respawned, but will he get out of this? He's very, very low, but has survived for now. Caitlyn now trading with Samux. Samux taking the crits to the face. And we've got the ace in the hole coming down. Bridal going to be taking a lot of damage. Malefic Vision spreads! It spreaded and forced the barrier from Samux, and it may even be enough regardless. It's not going to be, but ooh, that was close.
19 HP. It was indeed. And it's another thing you can kind of forget about Malzahar. You expect it to spread through minions, but you don't expect it to spread through your allies to you as well. And plus the damage coming in from Leandri's dropped them so low. That was almost very nearly a double kill with one Malefic Visions from Malzahar. And he just chunked through Nasus so easily, even without the null zone, and that's percentage damage, so would have dropped even faster. But even though he did maybe slightly mess up his combo, it didn't really matter in the long run. Blue buff will be picked up by Exeter over the wall. Massive damage even in that scenario. And it's, well, we've gotten to that point where we were saying in the champion set, and actually in the break as well, he's probably going to go for the tanks, and he's gone for Nasus because Nasus has considerably less magic resist than Shen has, because he's been looking to be like that person who goes for that initiate to get on those carries. But well, that's just left Nasus up for the taking. So both of them picking up the Spectre's Cowl, and it won't be enough really to completely mitigate Vergro's damage potential just yet. But they are starting to recognize that he does have that potential just to completely decimate the tanks at any given time. Caitlyn finds herself caught there with the Shadow Dash, and Samux coming down as well, in with the Blade of Ruin King, and that's Leap Vic dying very quickly indeed. Samux now picking up the Mirror Mana, has gone for a kind of semi-blue build. Looks like he is looking to get the Last Whisper along with the Iceborne Gauntlet as well, but is this a type of build that they want to be going for, Spudding Sim? Because we've said they need late game scaling, and they have Nasus and they have Shen, but they need damage behind that as well.
This does open up a strategy for them, though, in that they have Shen, they have the split pushing, so they don't necessarily need to ever be the ones engaging. And that, in turn, kind of mitigates the effectiveness of Malzahar, because they have so much punishing potential, like Grom here, who just gets caught by a root and is dead. So what they can do is they can literally just have Shen split push and never engage on a 5v5, so they will never have to worry about their bruises being destroyed in that situation. And look with that poke from Zyra, and look from that poke from the blue build, well, ish, Ezreal, to just catch people out at their tower and delete them.
Yeah, Kikis meanwhile the top lane is slowly dropping, and the Tiny Ice comes out as well, just enough shielding actually to keep himself not dead. Meanwhile, both of the bruisers are dropping very low. Grom is also dead, so let's see if they can pick up some more objectives. Mid tower went down along with the bot tower as well, so smart people looking to be in a very good position indeed. Verger is now there to defend, and Samux is just going ahead and recalling as well. So right now, just picking people off is really working out for smart people. They don't need to go for these team fights. And as you said, if you just have the Shen split pushing, even the bruisers as well, okay, Malzahar can kill one of them, but then they can go for the sort of skirmish fights with Zyra and Ezreal, and then be in a much better position, because they do have that kind of counter-initiate and kind of keep away potential with the blue build Ezreal and the Zyra.
Yeah, so gonna be interesting to see what they manage, though. They still have to deal with the fact that Malzahar has teleport himself, so he may actually look to start out split pushing the split pusher here. He does. I'm not sure at this stage who will win in a 1v1 between Malzahar and Shen. I have to say, I think it would be Malzahar, and my cat is attacking me, so forgive me for a second, but regardless, Malzahar will continue to push this out. It looks like they're going to be butting heads any second. Certainly Malzahar has the stronger pushing potential, though.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Malzahar will also win out in that fight, purely because he has picked up the Void Staff as well. And looks like this might be the Baron attempt coming in for smart people right now. They have Nasus there, and they have the plants as well, so they're not really going to be taking too much damage from that. And Grom is just kind of moving around the area, looking to put down this ward. And Hulk goes over the wall, already pick up the Baron. Flake comes out, they can't quite pick up the kill. Samux actually arcane shifts over the wall. Auto attacks come down. It's enough with the Mystic shot to pick that kill very quickly. And just great timing on the Baron. I just don't think that Mr. Bobi even thought that Baron was on the cards for them.
No, they didn't have the vision control, and they didn't think to check. They didn't have direct wards on the Baron area, and I think maybe they were slightly bemused because they thought they were just moving up a couple of guys. Oh my lord, the damage is coming down on Radzor, but he's going to get knocked up and not followed up on, not getting killed. And those two seeds are actually not doing anything, but regardless, Kikis is now tanking the damage from Samux, who is putting out quite a bit of the old damage there, but going to be okay for now. However, this is now definitely smart people in the driving seat.
Yeah, it just kind of feels that they set up the game in the right way by just kind of splitting themselves up, and they were better in that scenario. Meanwhile, they're just going to completely tank the mid turret, and NASA's quite honestly doesn't care with the shielding coming in along from the Dark Passage and the Locket of the Iron Solari, so they won't be putting some damage onto the middle turret. Top tower falls as well, just taking advantages all over the map. And as I was saying before, they kind of split up the pace of the game, so they were forcing these skirmish fights, which they were stronger in, because you'd have the Ezreal and the Zyra together, and then you'd have Shen just split pushing a lane, and maybe Nasa's pushing a lane as well. And I keep wanting to call them different team names because it's just like an amalgamation of all these different teams. But Mr. Bobi have the composition which is really good in the team fight. You land the Jarvan Cataclysm, then you land the Void, the Null Zone as well, and then all the AoE ultimate. And they were never able to quite group up the team of smart people to actually make that composition work. It happened once, but then it backfired. But honestly, they needed to carry on going with it. It was just misplaying within the team fight. And they were never able to make that happen, and as a result we had smart people just picking up advantages in different places, and now we're hitting this stage where they're just slowly and gradually pushing them into their base.
Yeah, however, there is still the potential in the long run for Caitlyn to be a real major threat, so what they need to do is just stall out hard. Malzahar is very, very good at stalling. With that Q he can clear waves very easily, and the E he can even farm remotely. But if he gets dived, if he gets taken out before they get to the siege situation, or if they just straight up tank the tower and take out that mid, that will crack the turtle shell and will make life a lot more difficult from that point on, because you can't really stall if your inhibs are exposed. And that is very much a possibility. However, it's going to be interesting to see how well they can play it, how well Vergro can stall the game out, because Kikis and Jarvan, they're not going to really having quite so much potential to take out the creep waves. However, it does seem like Zyra is now pushing out that bot lane, and Thresh and Nasus waiting for the potential hook.
Problem is though, as soon as you start thinking we're going to turtle, they lose all their objectives, they lose their jungle control, and then they have to stay in their base. And that means they're giving up buffs, they're giving up everything else in between. But Nasus finds himself Kikis, and Rydell pops over the death sentence, doesn't quite connect with anyone. I don't think it was on the tank, I don't think they really wanted to make that initiation happen regardless. But as soon as they get into that turtle mentality, they lose their buffs, and then Baron is also almost impossible to take as well, because you can never step outside of your base and start warding up. So in the long run, that will also start to favour smart people. And ping goes down, so they are just kind of fighting over the bush right now for vision, but Samix trading off with Leap Fake. True Shot Barrage comes in, sidestep from Fake, keeps himself safe. But tons of damage coming out from both of these AD carries, and the split pushing power from Shen as well is also starting to pay off. Flag Drag comes in from Redzor, and NASA's still trading off with them. He wants this fight to happen, but everyone else is already disengaged. Shen, meanwhile, at the top lane, they are looking for this pick to happen. Virgo comes up, but doesn't stick around to get that down. He does have his Nether Grasp, so he has his full channel and the full combo available to him. Is looking for a pick now, but now picking up that middle inhibitor turret, it can maybe make a team fight happen at that inhibitor. But the damage coming out from Caitlyn as well is starting to stack up.
Yeah, and they want that fight to actually. Kikis is going to go in here. Shirelius has been popped. It's going to be smart people running away, but Shen's continuing to pressure this. Artatros is there to support him, and it seems like Virgo does not have the harass. Grom has been hooked, however. Wither is now down on him. Kikis is engaged, but Wither is on Caitlyn, and she's not going to be able to put down much damage. Exeter has got the ultimate. Stranglethorn's throwing off everyone, and now we have Crescendo coming across. Leafake just trying to put out the damage, but the Wither is so strong, he just can't do it. Malefic Visions onto Artatros, but it's not going to be enough to take him out, and it is going to be overall. Actually, nobody has died until I say nobody has died. Oh, but Virgo actually, they're going to be going aggressive there. Will be not actually taking out Samux. Samux QSSing out of that. That might have killed him otherwise, but he's okay.
Yeah, inhib drops, and in that team fight, Vergro used his entire combo and landed everything, in fact, onto Shen. And Shen dropped to maybe 2% HP, but Elastic Clock comes in from Kickers, looking to reclaim the kill. Extra drops low, and Maleficent Vision will surely pick this kill up. It also spreads to Nasus as well. But Shen dropped so low, and had he dropped, they might have even been in the best position at bringing that to a 1-to-1 trade, and they would have been in the best position to maybe stop them from taking that inhibitor. But Shen flashed over the wall, and then he kept himself alive. So currently, I wouldn't say that either team have the stronger team fight, it's just positioning. And it was really that initiate from Kickers onto that 3-man push in the middle. That was Samux, Exeter, and Rydell. And because they were split pushing, they had Zerum at the top lane, and Nasus was doing something else somewhere else. And it was this, because they had such good disengage, this is what we've seen constantly through an entire game. They've just been using that 3-man combo, and if they get too close, they disengage with Rydell. They use his kit to keep them away. Box comes down, Flay comes out. And then Exeter and Samux can just disengage, but the initiation coming in from Kickers actually forced the issue. Again, it didn't work out for them, and I don't know if it's just a problem with them losing out in the team fights mechanically, that they're just kind of messing up, but these team fights always seem to start well for Mr. Bobi.
Yeah, I think it's just the power of the Zyra account. They're just not able to deal with it when she gets off her combo because they are committing so hard and getting so many people hit by that. It's just an incredibly powerful tool. However, in this bottom lane, it looks like Vergro may be waiting on Shen here. He's going to put down the full combo there, but no, Null Zone. He screwed up the combo again.
Well, he put it in at the end, and I think one tick at least landed on Shen, but How much damage is that null zone doing? Let's take a look. 8 plus 5%, so 13% every second. Yeah, that probably would have finished off Shen had that landed, and it's a tricky thing to do, but if you're going to play it in like a competitive game, you would expect to kind of have polished that up before going into it. Either way, we have smart people moving on once again onto the Baron, and it doesn't really look that Mr. Bobi in any position to contest this.
Yeah, it's worth noting 13% per second for 5 seconds, so that's, what? A lot. Nearly 60% of your max health.
Yeah.
I mean, that's before magic resist, so it won't do that much, but you could look to see easily 30% of Shen's health being, you know, just whittled away by that one ability, plus it will proc Leandry, so yeah, that's really, really bad, and there's just kind of no excuse for it, because Shen walked right into that combo, and I think relatively recently, maybe a month or two back, they actually patched Malzahar's W so that you could cast it while moving, so yeah, so it's not, I want to, you know, I'm going to sound arrogant now, but it's not that hard.
Yeah, especially when you have the drop on someone as well, because Shen had no idea he was there. Again, it's just the pressure of being in the competitive scenario, and that always can be an issue. A strong push coming now in from smart people, and it doesn't really look like they'll just, again, whittle them down. They have the poke coming from Samus, they have the poke from Extra as well, and Shen's just going to slowly push the top, but Rydell gets completely detonated by Vergro, and I honestly wasn't expecting that to happen over the wall. Buddington, have you been assassinated by your cat?
No, I was assassinated by my mute button. But regardless, yeah, that is just a Malzahar combo right there. So much damage. If it's not interrupted by someone else, it's just, you're dead. Goodbye. And you can see how much damage it even did to Shen when he screwed up the combo. Samuk's now going to be getting chased down by Kikis. He's got that ultimate, but I'm not sure if he can win this fight. He will be getting Stan United out from Shen onto Samux, who will be just... Kikis just backing out there.
Yeah, once again, coordination not quite paying off, but Nasus with the Wither and the Fury of the Sands immediately picks up Grom, now moving on to Kicks as well. Vergor around the corner, doesn't have the ultimate, but still ticking down onto Nasus. Meanwhile, Leap Fake finds himself to Rom and actually trading off against him very well indeed. Samix now trading off, Barrier comes out, Lack of Visions drops, and also the looks like the QSS comes out, and Leap Fake once again finds himself caught. Zerom follows after with the Shadow Dash and doesn't quite connect it, but Samux, legendary, 8-0 and 5. Now moving on to Vergor as well, with the Zhonya's Hourglass. Won't really keep him alive for too long. Tried the Nether Grass, and gotta hand it to him for trying, but Red Zor, last man standing. I think this will probably be the game.
Yeah, I can't imagine it not being now. Jerem will be just tanking this tower up. The tower, in fact, will be getting trolled by the inhib. So this may take a little bit longer, but it's still, you know, it's a 30-second cool death timer at least until anyone relevant respawns. I mean, Sona has come back in. She has got Crescendo, but yeah, they're not going to try because there just isn't any point. We have, however, got the root coming in from Zyron. Not going to be landing that. And the hook also pulling Redzor off the spawn pad. Full combo doing a lot of damage there, but considering he's a tank. But it's not going to kill him, and that will be the game going in the favor of smart people.
Yeah, so the Malzahar pickup actually works a lot better than I was expecting, but I don't think the result of that game was because of the Malzahar. In fact, he did very well and he picked up a lot of key targets. And even though we did see some of the combos mess up, what was good about Malzahar was he was able to lock up those bruises, and it worked out how we were kind of theory crafting about it. The only problem was just the general team play didn't pay through. So honestly, I could see Malzahar being a very good pickup in kind of situational team fights in like situational games.
Yeah, it's worth noting this was a very good situation to pick Malzahar. He had a lot of potential utility here, and his weaknesses weren't showing through nearly as strongly. But yeah, so don't, you know, think, okay, Malzahar OP, play him every game. But, you know, I think he's a little bit underestimated by the community at the moment. Certainly a strong character, but they did lose the game regardless, and that will mean they're going to be going into a second game of this best of 3, a 1-0 advantage. We'll be right back after we get the players into the lobby, so see you all in just a minute.